Hey everyone, it's Lindsay from Perfectly Bookish 5, and this is my December wrap-up. I have my December reads right here, and in December I read 15 books. I was going to try to squeak another one in yesterday, just spend a day. It's New Year's, so spend New Year's Eve reading, but I ended on like such a good book. I didn't want to try to fit one more in after that because it was an amazing read for me, so I'm like, let's just end 2023 on a great note. The first book that I read for the month of December was A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I gave this 3 stars. Unfortunately, I didn't like it as much as the first book. This book follows the star who was supposed to take part in the first book and one of the other boy band members, I believe. And there's just a job that they're doing in the book that I just thought, like, whatever to the job, but for the main female character to go with what she does and to feel like she's kind of washed up and then to move into this for a last resort, the story wasn't for me, and I didn't find the characters as likable as I did in the first book. Next, I read The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. I gave this 3.5 stars. Now, this is a Next Generation book to the Off-Campus series. It has to do with Hannah and Garrett's daughter. And I had such high expectations for this book because Garrett and Hannah are my favorite couple in the Off-Campus series. So I think I put my expectations too high. It was good, but for me it was just nowhere near what the Off-Campus series books were and how I fell in love with them, and especially Garrett and Hannah. So 3.5, so-so for me. I read Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend by Lucy Eden. This was my first read by this author. I wanted to give her a try because she's going to be a book bonanza in 2024. Well, I don't need to say in 2024. It is 2024 now. But she's a new to me author for a book signing I'm going to. And I thought this was a cute read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This couple meets and during the day they just hang out and have fun together. But there's a twist with a connection to the characters. I read Wing of the Walker by Coralie June. This is the first book in the series. There is some stuff that has happened, and there are people who are called walkers. They are worse off than some other people, and the wealthy people have the better off walkers as kind of like servants, and then there's some walkers who are just really bad and diseased. And there is this girl who is in love with I think he is the son of her owners. If I'm sorry, I did really enjoy this book, but I'm having a little trouble remembering some of the parts. But then this guy comes in and he is trying to make a deal with her owners, and he's kind of putting the guy to the test, saying, well, if I give you this and this, I get to take this girl. And she thinks this will never be agreed to because that they really do love each other. They just can't broadcast it because she's a walker and he's of high status, and she ends up going with this new person. I just really enjoyed all of the characters, the female and the different male characters, and just the connections that you start to see, and the personalities of the guys was fun for me as well. And I read Broken Puppet by Amo Jones. Now, I keep saying I read. So far, these have all been audiobooks for me, I think. Yeah, only 2 books were physical reads. Don't know why I feel like I had to mention that, but I just kept saying read, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know I didn't read this. I listened to this. Broken Puppet by Amo Jones. This is the second in the series, so I'm not going to say too much about the book because I don't want to ruin anything. This is the sequel to The Silver Swan. I listened to Christmas with Saint by Jay Sterling. This was my first read by this author. I gave it 3 stars. Oh, Broken Puppet, if I did say it was 4 stars. This one I gave 3 stars. It was okay. Just, it didn't wow me. I thought it would be fun to listen to being Christmas time. But the characters were just okay. The story was okay. It was okay. Then I listened to Heart of a Walker, which is a sequel to Wing of the Walkers. I won't say too much to that because being a sequel, don't want to ruin anything, but I'm enjoying the series. I want to say there's 5 books to the series. I didn't own the first 2. I have the 3rd one somewhere back here on one of these shelves that I am going to read. And Coralie was a new to me author in 2023, and I've really been enjoying her book. She's going to be at, I think, both of the book signings I am planning to go to this year, and I just am glad I found a new to me author that I really enjoy. Next, I listened to The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I was really happy when I got this book to listen to because I've been on hold for a really long time at my library. Riley's books are ones that I have really been enjoying. I think there's just one that I've read so far that I haven't cared for, but in this one we have a caretaker, and she is just coming off of being under investigation for something that happened to her last client, and she was found not guilty, but her boss is thinking different things and he doesn't really like her. So there's a job that comes up and she doesn't really want it, but it's the only job she was being offered. She had to move in with her dad during all the investigation going on about her. So she kind of went through her savings because she wasn't getting paid during this time. So she ends up taking the job because she needs money. She doesn't want to take the job because the house that this client is at is thought of to be a murderer. There were stories going around that when this woman, I want to say she was like 17, somewhere around there, that she killed her mom, dad, and her sister. And there's a lot of mystery that is going on in this book, and that was fun for me. I like the book jumps between the past and the present, so you are trying to figure out the mystery and everything that happened with the main character. So I enjoyed that aspect. I gave this read 4 out of 5 stars. Then I listened to The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I was also waiting on hold for this at my library. That was really excited because my library got some extra copies in, and when your specific library, like the library that you have a library card for, gets in more copies, you go up higher on the list for those particular copies, so that I didn't have to wait as long. So thank you, my library. Now when these books get written, you know, this is what they're telling you about their lives. Sometimes you think, are they saying stuff to like enhance it, or is how much truth is there to this? And just reading through the book, if like everything that's in there is true that happened, it's really sad for what Britney had to go through. And I knew there were problems with her family, but I didn't think that happened until her fame started to become bigger. But it sounded like there were problems like from the get-go, especially with her dad. So that's really sad if she had to grow up with that in her childhood. It is sad what has happened to Britney over years. Like, she was the princess of pop, and then all this cat fight. So lost my train of thought with my fur babies having some fun back there. But so like everything that she has been through, it would be really nice to see her make a great comeback on her terms, and I just thought it was a really good read. Sad, but good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I listened to Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is a book about chess, which I don't think I've ever read a book about chess before, so I like that it was something different. Our main female character is young, but she takes on a lot of the responsibility of her two younger sisters because her mom is sick. Like, she's at least 18, like 18. She's younger, but she's an adult. And her dad had passed away. He's the one who taught her how to play chess, and he was quite the chess player himself. She comes across an opportunity to start playing in chess tournaments to win money. She doesn't tell her family about it because she doesn't want them to think she's just playing for fun and that she doesn't think it's that serious of a job. Also, she has some hard feelings because of her dad and the game, because that was like their thing, their connection that they had. And our main character, male main character, he is one of the chess players that he is one of the highest ranking players there is. I found the female to be quite annoying. Yes, she had a lot to go through, but there are some things I think that she could have done differently, approached things differently, and I just wish she would have kind of let loose more and started to live her life. Our main character did a good job at helping her come out of her shell a little more, and I really liked his laid backness, and he was more easygoing, which helped mellow her out. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And I listened to Southern Chance by Natasha Madison. And then Wicked by Amo Jones. I gave Southern Chance 4 out of 5 stars and Wicked 3 out of 5 stars. I finally have a physical copy to show you. I tabbed this one a little bit, and this was the very first book that I started like highlighting in. Not too much. I didn't feel like there's too much information that I really had to tab in here, but this I gave 4 to 5 stars. It was my first read by Elsie. In my Christmas vlog, I talk more about the book and my feelings on it. This is about a bull rider and his agent's daughter, who also works for the firm, kind of ends up being a babysitter for him because he does something not so good that involves one of his sponsors, and she has to keep him in check. My favorite book of the month, and that moved up to my favorite book of the year, was Boone by Sawyer Bennett. 5 out of 5 stars. It doesn't come out till January 16th, so pick it up. It is about a hockey player, and he does a lot of charity work. He doesn't do it because like the team makes him do it. He enjoys doing it partly because of something in his past, and he just is a real genuine guy, and he likes to give back. There's one of the kids he's grown a bigger connection with, and it's not that much bigger than the other kids. It becomes that way, but he does stuff for all different kids, and he remembers their favorites of different things. He brings them stuff that they aren't allowed to go out and get and enjoy. So he does a lot, but then he ends up being this bigger connection with this one boy through the boy's sister. And they meet one day, and the dad comes into the hospital drunk. He ends up taking the dad home, and he finds out where this family lives. They live above a deli. That is where she works, and they stuff goes from there. So I just love Boone. His character, and I don't mean like the character in the book, his character as a person is just written so well, so amazing. The little boy in the story who is sick, he's funny, and he's just a great brother to his sister. And I just enjoyed the book so much. The connection between our two main characters is great. He helps her relax a little bit because she has so much on her shoulders, and I cried at the end. If you are a crier in books, you will cry in this one, so have the tissues ready. I haven't had a good cry in a book for quite some time. So Sawyer wrecked me a little bit with this book. I loved it so much. I believe it's book 11 in the Pittsburgh Titans series, but definitely give it a go when it releases. Then lastly, I have another physical copy to show you. I read Deviant by Callie Hart. I know I said I wanted to end like on a good note. I had already started this and it was only 98 pages. I will explain it in a second. And just, I started it way too late, so I fell asleep. Like, the book was on my bed as, like, I woke up the next morning. So I had to close this out. I didn't want to start a brand new, fresh book after Boom. But, so this is the Blood and Roses series. All 6 books are in here. And I thought I would have been able to, like, plug this out over winter break, but I ended up doing a lot more than I thought I would. So this is what my continued reading is going to be going into January. If you want some spice, you should definitely pick up this book. So our main character, I know his name, why can't I think of her name right now? Sloan is her name. She is looking for her sister. Her sister's missing. She hires a private detective to help look for her sister, and he ends up being a skis ball, and he says, I will only give you the information I have on your sister if you do this. He's basically trying to pimp her out. So she has this interaction with someone, and then like years later they end up meeting again. And yeah, a lot of spicy stuff in the story, but I do also like the mystery in there as well. So I'm excited to continue the series, see what happens with Zeth and Sloan, and if Sloan is able to find her sister. Callie is going to be at Book Bonanza this year. She was supposed to be at the Polycon, was it last year or 2 years ago? And she wasn't able to make it. She tested positive for COVID right before, like the day before she was supposed to leave, or the morning of, and I was hoping to meet her then, but I wasn't able to. I didn't have this book yet that I was reading, her Riot House, Riot Rules, those books, and I hope she is able to make this signing, No More Illness, and that I will finally be able to meet her. There you have it, the books I read in the month of December. Boone and The Only One Left were definitely high on my list, so if you haven't read them, I definitely recommend them. Let me know what were some of your favorite books in the month of December. Bye!